Hello, this is Crystal Racing with the report for the 2022 Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and Max Verstappen wins again. But having said that though, we are very much now into the Max Verstappen domination era, and I have to say, it's pretty much just as boring as the Schumacher Ferrari era, the Vettel Red Bull era. Although to be fair, there was a lot more competition going on in Vettel's day at Red Bull. And frankly, this is just as boring as watching Hamilton win with Mercedes all the time. But one team though that should be putting pressure on Red Bull and Max is Ferrari. And for the third consecutive race in a row, Ferrari managed to mess it all up. Ever since 2007, they have been an absolute shambles of a team, and frankly, I every race that goes by, I keep being proven correct about what I think about that team. They are a shambles from top to bottom. It's just not acceptable to have two cars break down in the space of, what's in the first 21 laps. And frankly, you know, I feel so sorry for Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz. They don't deserve this, but Ferrari, they're absolutely shambolic. In fact, you know, I'm gonna do, you know what? Ferrari, you should sign this fella up. He would sort out your engineering, your strategy issues, your, you know, driver management. This is the guy who will sort you out, seriously. Honestly, you're that much of a shambles. This guy would do a better job than whoever you have right now in Binotto as team principal, and Aki Rueda in charge of strategy calls. You're not good enough, but, you know, enough of that nonsense. But seriously, on to the crystal score. It's 9 out of 10 for Max Verstappen. Once again, he benefited from team orders. But frankly, though, with Verstappen finishing 20 seconds ahead of Perez, presumably because Max was driving as hard as he could in order to prove that he was much faster than Perez. Yeah, it's 9 out of 10. Although I have to say, once again, he got out-qualified in qualifying by Perez. And we have to remember, Perez is fairly mid when he comes to qualifying, so that's a big red flag for Max, to be honest. Second place, Perez, 8.5 out of 10. Gotta say it, I feel kind of sorry for him, but, you know, this result does now leave him 21 points behind Max in the driver's standings. Sorry about that. Who, of course, Charles Leclerc is now 34 points behind Max, and Ferrari have now dropped 80 points behind Red Bull in the constructor standings. We're only 8 races into the season, and it does have that sort of ominous feeling about it, doesn't it? Yeah, this is definitely Max and Red Bull's year. And of course, Mercedes, of course, third place. George Russell finishing 46 seconds behind, I beg your pardon. But for me, he gets 10 out of 10. Did not put a foot wrong. Out-qualified Lewis yet again. Faultless, really. I mean, just imagine Russell in a car that could actually fight for race wins. Yeah, that's kind of a scary thought, isn't it? I mean, Max and Red Bull would actually be quaking the boots, because Ferrari are definitely not a threat right now. Fourth place, Lewis Hamilton, 8 out of 10. Had a bad start and got stuck in a midfield gaggle, but made a good comeback drive to overtake everyone. Decent overtake on Gasly towards the end, but Lewis is getting absolutely battered by Russell now. It's kind of very clear to see that Hamilton's days as a number one at Mercedes are fading away, and frankly, I don't even see him winning an 8th world title at this rate. 5th place, I beg your pardon. Pierre Gasly with his best result of the season. Produced the best qualifying of the season yesterday with 6th place and finished 5th today. Faultless drive. Absolutely near perfect. To be honest, I'd actually give him 10 out of 10, because let's face it, he was never going to fight up. Going to keep Hamilton behind him for until the end of the race. 6th place, Sebastian Vettel, 9.5 out of 10. Again, a very, very good performance. Got into Q3 for the first time this season, and if it wasn't for Vettel going off the road earlier on whilst trying to overtake Ocon, it would be a perfect 10. But Sebastian Vettel going from strength to strength now, of course, building on that great performance in Monaco, and once again producing another great performance on a street track. Sebastian Vettel is well back on form, and he looks happy. He's, in an environment where he's not being stabbed in the back every weekend. It's his own team. He can do whatever the hell he wants, and he looks like the old Sebastian Vettel is back. 7th place, Fernando Alonso, 9 out of 10. Now that is customary early season bad luck is gone again. Fernando Alonso is getting results and pretty much blasting Ocon down the drain, really. I mean, Ocon, I know he has his run of races where he will outperform a teammate for about 3 or 4 races on the bounce, but then of course after that he just goes back to being absolutely bang average. Daniel Ricciardo and Lando Norris, very controversial, 8 out of 10. Both McLarens failed to make Q3 yesterday, with Norris beating Ricciardo to P11, but in the race, Ricciardo actually got the better of Norris, although of course there were certain parts of the race where both of them were challenging the drivers in front of them. But for whatever reason, neither of them could quite make any inroads on Gasly, Vettel and Alonso. And not only that, the strategy calls quite interesting, and I have to say the team orders, Ricciardo being told to move over for Norris, and then Norris then demanding Ricciardo gets taken out of the way, and then Ricciardo getting annoyed in return. Things are getting very toxic at McLaren this season. They're still in 4th place in the constructor standing, but they're now only 18 points ahead of Alpine, who have now jumped ahead of Alfa Romeo. 10th place, Esteban Ocon, 7 out of 10. Literally the definition of mid, this guy, I have to say. I don't know why people love to talk up Ocon as being a potential Mercedes driver, because, today's performance just proved what he is. The guy is literally mid. He literally belongs to this higher part of the grid. He's just, there's nothing amazing about him. I just, apart from, okay, you might do well in a wet once in a while, but that's about it. 11th place, Valtteri Bottas, 6 out of 10. Both AlphaTauris got knocked out in Q2, and for the first time this season, Joe Ganyu, I beg your pardon, out-qualifies Bottas. But having said that, though, I mean, you do have to say, though, I really do wonder what Alfa Romeo would be capable of if they had 2 genuine elite drivers at that team. Would they be fighting for 3rd place in the constructor standings? Maybe, because they've now dropped to 6th place in the constructors, and I mean, this is just kind of a bit underwhelming from Alfa Romeo, to be honest, considering how fast their car is this season. 12th place, Alex Albon, 7 out of 10. Worst car on the grid. But I've got to say, though, considering how rubbish Albon was at Monaco last time out, where he was ignoring blue flags and cutting, extending the track limits over the chicane, and then, of course, getting a time penalty for breaching track limits too many times, and then of course puncturing his tyres and one of his tyres in the process. Alex Albon drove a very solid race, 7 out of 10, but although I will say, though, he did profit quite a fair bit from Tsunoda's rear wing issues and the retirements to all the front people in front of him, really, the Ferraris, Lance Stroll, Magnussen and Drew. Tsunoda, 13th place, 8 out of 10. So unlucky to have that issue with his rear wing, with only half of his wing, with his rear wing having cracked, meaning that when he engaged DRS, it meant only half of the flap came up, meaning that the team had to tape down the wing using good old-fashioned duct tape, and Tsunoda was forced to turn off DRS for the rest of the race, and there wasn't really much he could do after that. But before then, he was running in around 7th place and fighting with Alonso and the 2 McLarens today, but it just wasn't meant to be. 14th place, Mick Schumacher, 5 out of 10. qualified 20th and last for the first time this season. And in the race, he was just so slow. I mean, I know the horse is pretty much, what's it, the 8th or 9th best car on the grid, really, but come on, Mick, seriously, you know, you're trying to prove to people that you deserve a seat in Formula 1 because of the fact you actually have some talent, and not because of who your dad is, but that performance had pay driver written all over it, just absolutely nowhere. 15th place, Nicholas Ativi, 5 out of 10, got a 5-second penalty for ignoring blue flags. But regardless of that, though, his position was not affected because he was just really slow again. Just got nothing to say about him in general. I don't care about this guy, to be honest. 16th place, retiring 5 laps from the end with a vibration issue, but classified 16th due to, of course, having completed more than 90% of the race in his Lance Stroll, 5 out of 10. This track, Baku, is supposed to be one of Lance Stroll's best circuits on the calendar, but this weekend this was actually arguably the worst race of his whole season so far. He qualified 19th, crashed out of qualifying after, you know, ramming the wall and, you know, flat spotting his tyres, but for some dumb reason he decided to then start pushing again, and inevitably when you try and push with a heavily flat spotted tyre, he went and crashed into the wall. Just really stupid, and really in the race I didn't see anything impressive from him because, of course, Vettel was absolutely destroyed him this weekend. Just completely tore him from limb to limb. And on to the retirees. Kevin Magnussen, 7 out of 10. Power unit failure. Guanyu Zhou, 6 out of 10. Technical issue. That's 4 Ferrari-powered cars that are retired, by the way, just so that you know. And, of course, the 2 unlucky Ferrari brothers, Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz, a.k.a. the modern-day version of John Alesi and Gerhard Berger. My God. Wow, they are never winning a championship with this team. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, I would not be surprised if Kimi Raikkonen ends up breaking Jody Schechter's run as being the last Ferrari world champion for many, which lasted for about 21 years between 1979 and 2000. I mean, right now we are currently, you know, it's been 15 years since Kimi Raikkonen won the world championship for Ferrari, and frankly I would not be surprised come 2029 Kimi Raikkonen is still Ferrari's final world champion, and not only that, he breaks Schechter's run as Ferrari's last remaining champion. If you enjoyed this rant, please like, subscribe to Crystal Racing, and I want to say a quick thank you to this fella for as a useful prop, and I'll see you again next time.